Oh, okay, a bit of a weird one today, guys, but something I really want to share with you all that's been blowing my mind based on just a whim that I went on before. So, as some of you know, I'm currently in the middle of doing a bit of a small series looking at the Fire Island chain here in Guild Wars 1 for people who are about to experience it in Guild Wars 2. And that's all well and good, and that's going on. But when I came back to the game, I found myself wondering about something. I've talked about this a little bit on a stream as well recently, but not everyone would have heard that discussion. And it's the idea of Guild Wars 1 hero comps and really min-maxing or playing with interesting ideas. And we were talking about this because really my experience when I used to play this game a lot was I kind of just found what was the meta thing, Sab way, Discord way, Glaive way, whatever the content was that I was doing, and I'd just sort of load those 3 heroes up and that was it, I'd be done. But there have really been 2 big changes since those days with Guild Wars 1, and they happened right at the end of the game's lifespan. So I feel like they were really huge changes, but there wasn't too much discussion or appreciation for what they truly were. One of them was the fact that, of course, now we can have more than just 3 heroes. We can have a full team of heroes. Every single slot is completely customizable. But also, even better than that, they did the Mercenary update. Now, for those that don't know, the Mercenary system allows you to take other characters on your account, like this guy here, Obsidian Twister, for example, and you can turn him into a hero for use on other toons. And what that meant was not only can you customize your entire team, but you can have every single slot in that team be any class. You can have a team full of warriors. You can have a team full of paragons, a team full of 50-50 monks and necros, whatever. You're never limited by the stock heroes that the game used to give us, like, for example, only 2 Mesmers, Norgu, and Gwen. So, I was wondering, what can you do with that? That's a powerful thing. And yet, I never really saw too much talk of it. So I did a bit of a Google, I did a bit of a look online, see whether anyone had really said much. And the most recent thing I found was a Reddit thread that didn't even have that many comments. It's the Guild Wars 1 subreddit. It had maybe 10 responses tops. But someone vaguely mentioned the skill Energy Surge. So, we all should be well aware that in the later balance patches for Guild Wars 1, Mesmers went from being the worst PvE class to the best in a lot of ways. They have incredibly high armor ignoring damage, all of their PvE like energy costs and things went way down. They changed fast casting, our primary attribute, to not just speed up the speed that we cast stuff, but also the stuff that the rate at which things cools down also. It was a huge update for Mesmers. And some of you guys who are really keen Wood Potatoes followers, you'll know I actually used to main Mesmer. Mesmer was my baby. Not only this, but Energy Surge was my baby. See, when I first started playing this game, I learned about elite skills, and I kind of got a crappy one, but I heard that Energy Surge was a thing, and it was a thing back then because of PvP. People used to run it in Heroes Ascent and stuff, and so that was like really my first main big quest to go get something, and I still have a lot of nostalgia for Energy Surge. So I saw this vague comment. It didn't even sell the build that much. It didn't even say much of a build. It just said, hey, yeah, you can spam Energy Surge on a ton of heroes, and I thought, you know what? I'm back in the game anyway to film some Fire Island stuff. Let's try it out. And oh my god, this is a beast. Alright, so I want to show you guys this team comp. First, I guess I'll just show what it can do. This might not be too impressive here because these are giant herders and it's very likely I'm going to get giant stomped down and it's all going to be horrible and a nightmare. But we'll see. As long as they stay vaguely balled up. Oh, one of them's dead already. Interrupt that, someone. There we go. Good job. And they're all dead. Okay. This isn't even the half of it, alright? So, yeah, Energy Surge is pretty ridiculous. What I have done is I for the first time in a long time, I spent some real-world money on Guild Wars 1. I used to be so stingy with this game. I got myself another Mercenary hero pack, and I souped out my team. If you have a look over here, we're all Mesmers. We have 7 Mesmers, and then last of all, I copped out in the last slot, and I've actually got a Necro / healer. That's it. She is our only defense. We have no, like, real damage mitigation in any respect, except for the offensive mitigation we have with all of our interrupts and stuff. And basically, I have Energy Surge spam on everyone. 7 of our characters, we're all using it. Energy Surge, Domination Magic, Energy Surge, Domination Magic, Energy Surge, and again, and again, and again, and again. That's all we're doing, okay? We're all Domination Mesmers. Why is this so strong? Well, because Energy Surge has got a lot of quality of life. With high fast casting, it cools down really quickly, it casts really quickly, and it only costs 5 energy. What does all that mean? It means it's great for heroes to use. It also doesn't have any, like, special proccing things to get the max effectiveness. It's just, hey, use the skill, that's it. And what you're going to do as you do that is big AoE damage, armor ignoring damage. The AoE is one of the biggest AoEs you can get in the game, so enemies don't even have to be that balled up. So you can, like say with Discord where you can nuke a target, but then you have to nuke another and another, or with big elementalists to try and do lots of rolling AoEs that will move out of them and stuff. This won't trigger AI to move out of its path or anything because it's not a ground targeted thing or anything. Energy Surge is just beautiful. And on top of all of that, it also means that they have no energy, so it seriously reduces the amount of skills that enemies can use. And then you just pile on top of that a bunch of other really powerful Mesmer stuff, okay? So let's take Obsidian Twister here, okay? Obsidian Twister has Energy Surge, then has Unnatural Signet. This doesn't even have an energy cost. It will activate really quickly because there's a signet. Again, fast casting. What this will do is really nice armor ignoring damage, and it will go AoE if they have a hex, which they will, and I'll explain. You've got Cry of Frustration. Everyone's running this as well. Massive damage AoE. AoE interrupts at that. Mistrust. Again, anyone that casts a spell against us, it will backfire on them. They'll take massive damage and a huge AoE. Signet of Disruption. This, as long as there's hexes on enemies, can be used to interrupt anything we like those giant stomps. And then the last few slots, and everyone's running those, right? Like that front line, that's like on everyone, okay? So Energy Surge, Unnatural Signet, Cry of Frustration, Mistrust. Again and again and again. On Crystal Twister, Jade Twister, Obsidian Twister, and Etheric Twister. And then the last slots are just utility things, right? To not confuse the AI, so it's spending all of its time doing that. So here we get a bit more damage on the Power Spike, maybe. But I've got them all set up as like, we got a lot of Mesmer / Paragons, okay? So we have double copies of full back. So we generally, or even triple copies. So we generally will always be moving at 33% extra speed, and we're healing. We all have Stand Your Ground, or we have 2 copies of Stand Your Ground to just permanently have that on us in combat. And that's really good because we're all casters, so it's extra armor when we're not moving, and guess what? We're barely ever going to be moving, so that's a nice touch. We have We Shall Return for a massive AoE res when we want it. We have Shatter Hex for even more damage, but also hex removal. We have lots of copies of Never Give Up as well, and what Never Give Up will do is it will pump us full of energy if we're maybe running low on a longer fight, or if we actually start getting a bit lower. This is an incredible skill for heroes. Instant activation doesn't interfere with their casting queues and stuff. Like, a lot of building heroes is trying to make sure that they're not stupid with the skills you give them. And this is all stuff I've made, by the way. This wasn't online anywhere. I'm sure people have come to the same conclusions, but this was my first build craft I've done in Guild Wars 1 for ages, and I had a real blast. I've got Complicate on here as well. This is an interrupt that will disable AoE, that skill. So say if we're fighting Hydras in the Fire Island chain, it will interrupt all of their meteor showers and put all of them on cooldown. And the result is, okay, basically, with all this crazy spam, some insane stuff. So here, for example, we've got a bunch of Siege Ice Golems. I'm going to run up. I'm going to do my little rotation, which is slightly different to the heroes. They're all going to see them up there. I have all the heroes set to do be very aggressive, and there you go. They did. They did. Not a single skill came in on us. Not a single skill came in on us. And the enemy's wiped straight away. Now, we're not in hard mode, but this is just as good in hard mode because enemies actually attack faster and then they can get hurt quicker, and it's really not a big difference. There you go. Look at all the herders die there. Oh, one survived and I hadn't targeted it. But there we go, we got him killed. You'll notice I barely even rely on many PvE skills here, by the way. I've only got Air of Superiority because it's just a lot of fun. This gives you random perks like tons of energy and instantly refreshes all your cooldowns and stuff as you kill stuff. And because you kill stuff so fast on this build, it's just an excellent skill. And I've got even Vanguard Assassin support, which I'll talk about soon. So here we got a group of Tengu up here. I'm going to do a very similar thing. We're going to open with a Hex. We're going to make sure that our heroes actually see that stuff's going on. And there you go. They blew them up. They don't even need line of sight necessarily. They just need to be slightly in range. It's so crazy. And I just came up with it. I thought, oh my god, this is the craziest thing I think I've done in Guild Wars. And I had to show it off. People on the main channel wouldn't really understand or care about this because, hey, it's Guild Wars 1. They're only interested in Guild Wars 2 now. But if you guys are still playing this game, at least to any extent, I encourage you to try this stuff out. Play with Mercenaries. This was just the first thing I stumbled onto. Maybe I'll try some other builds at some point. So my build is slightly different to the rest, but it kind of hits on a lot of other criteria. So we've got Air of Superiority, just get tons of buffs. We've got Waste Not, Want Not. This is an incredible energy management skill. Really, really good. Much better than it first appears, because like you can proc that on an enemy casting something like Troll Unguent, and it will still count. They're doing stuff, but because it's not a spell, you technically get away with it. But the important part here is I've got Mind Rack on my bar, and I always open with Mind Rack. Now, why do I always open with Mind Rack? Because it's a pretty epic skill in this comp, okay? So Mind Rack is a Hex. So being a Hex enables all of my Mesmer friends, when they cast Unnatural Signet, because they all have it, they will all do big damage on the main target, but that will also now be AoE. So Mind Rack enables that to be AoE. Also, for my other Mesmers, they're running interrupts. AI is amazing at interrupts, like Cryo Frustration and stuff. So for a couple of them, I've got the Signet of Disruption on them. So Signet of Disruption, again, is an interrupt, it's good damage, it's AoE, but also, if the foe is hexed, then it will interrupt anything in the game, instead of just spells. And guess where the hex comes from? Guess what? It's me with Mind Rack. You could also run, say, Ether Nightmare, the Luxon or Kurzik skill, if you like, and you've got the PvE slot. But I like Mind Rack for another reason, okay? It enables all this AoE and this interrupting on my other guys. But it gives me that kind of feeling that I'm in control of who gets spiked down. But even better, the effect of Mind Rack itself compounds amazingly on this build, alright? So Mind Rack is, once the hex is on them, whenever I use a non-hex Mesmer skill on that foe, they'll take energy and take damage loss. Energy loss, and they'll take damage loss. So if I Mind Rack one of these mobs here, and then I cast Unnatural Signet, it will do Unnatural Signet the base damage, it will do Unnatural Signet AoE, and it will proc extra armor ignoring damage on Mind Rack. And it will proc extra damage on Energy Surge. And it will proc extra damage on Spiritual Pain, which will also annihilate spirits that enemies cast and minions that enemies cast. It will also proc it when I'm giving myself energy with Waste Not, Want Not. So many of my skills here proc Mind Rack. And then there's the final effect of Mind Rack. If the energy of the foe hits 0, then Mind Rack ends and they take another nuke of over 100 armor ignoring damage. And what that means is all these mobs, like, a lot of foes will die really fast because of Mistrust, like casters, because casters just get blown up by Mistrust. It's incredible. But for the kind of more physical characters like these herders, they have lower base energy. So if I engage on them with a Mind Rack, watch how the damage rolls through. Ready? So we're going to start on this herder here. We're going to Mind Rack him. He's going to get hit with the stuff, and they just get annihilated. I don't actually think you saw the Mind Rack go off. And there we got Giant Stomped, unfortunately, which is going to slow us down majorly. But very often, you'll just blow stuff up because the Mind Rack... And look at how short of a cooldown it's on. You'll get all those extra procs roll in, which is great. Here we've got a boss called the Judge. I don't really need it because he's dying so fast. There you go, he's already out. But still, when it comes to bosses, we have a little bit better as well. We can become a massive damage carry here because we have Wastrel's Worry. So Wastrel's Worry is if the target isn't doing anything for 3 seconds, after that, they take a massive nuke of damage. That is also AoE. But what's cool about this is they never have any energy, so it's very often that they won't be able to do anything. So here we've got some Tengu up on this hill. Let's just blow these up. As we can see here, it's so crazy, guys. I've never seen so fast kills and so much quality of life. It's just instant. So this is basically guaranteed to proc against most foes because they just can't do anything. But also, when you have a boss, bosses in this game shed hexes twice as fast. And what does that mean? Well, you can just spam Wastrel's Worry and it's just like your boss killer. There you go, you're done. It just kills all the foes you want because you can just spam it again and again and again and again. And I'll show that as a demonstration in a second when we get a little bit further into Thunderhead Keep here. It's crazy. It's crazy. You have everything you need. You have all the energy you need. You have an instant AoE res. You have out of combat movement speed. You have extra defense for people, a bit of healing. You have such high pressure on foes that you very rarely get anything here. And if you look at the damage meter here from Toolbox, you'll see that Livia's done no damage. I've done by far and away a lot more than all the other characters. And why is that? Because of the Mind Racks. Because I'm getting these first hits off. Because I'm targeting a little bit smarter. So here I'm going to try and keep hexes on these guys so that they can't giant stomp us at any point. And you'll just see most of the time Rangers are the ones that survive before anything else. And you can just totally annihilate stuff. So there's one other thing I want to show you guys. I want to find a boss first of all. Let's blow up this last group and then I guess we'll show off a proper boss in a second. There you go. You've got some Frost Giants. These kinds of groups are the best where they don't really move because they just get nuked that much harder. I mean, if these were casters, it would be even better. And if they weren't giants that knocked us down. I mean, you could even run some Paragon Shouts that stop that from happening too. Is there not a boss that appears just over here on the left of the city? Somewhere? No. Watch this Doliac Master. These guys usually die in a fairly satisfying way. Look at this! Look at this. It's absurd. Alright, so I'll show you something else, right? That's normal mode. It's an 8-man area, whatever. But it's Thunderhead Keep. It's not really that hard. How about we go to Emberlight Camp? And we go hard mode, okay? So outside of this gate here is one of the most notoriously difficult parts of all of Prophecies, I would say, especially for hard mode. The reason why it's so notorious is because there's tons of Hydra out there that do insanely huge nukes, Phoenix, meteor showers, they will destroy our group. Little Olivia cannot handle if any of those skills really get off. So it is a little bit risky here. We're also going to play in hard mode. They're going to move 33% faster. They're going to be way tanky. They're going to have way higher energy pools. And they're going to move a lot quicker. And there's going to be a lot of patrols. I'm going to show you the strength of this comp by charging into them as soon as we run out. And hopefully we get a good roll. I can wipe here, but I'll show you guys what I mean. And the main thing that saves us from this is even Vanguard Assassin support. Because all you have to do is cast your even Vanguard... Oh, God, hold on. That's a bit of a weird pull we've got there. Let's kill this Phantom first. I'm not that reckless. The Phantoms can be pretty annoying. They'll cry of frustration. So we're gonna even Vanguard Assassin support, okay? And what they'll do is they'll waste their first couple of little hits as we roll in on the even Vanguard. And oh, look. They're all dead. We even had a double Phantom spawn, which was pretty crazy. These guys have been spawning minions. Well, no problem. All I have to do is spam Spiritual Pain. I get interrupted a few times and lose a lot of energy because of a Phantom, which you saw there. No matter. Waste not, want not. Wait just a little while for my Assyrian Superiority to give me some extra buffs. There, the Bone minions get wrecked by Spiritual Pain. And did you see my party there? Did you see how much stuff just charged us there in this entire ring? We don't even feel it. We don't even feel it. I have no doubt that there's somewhere in Guild Wars 1 that this won't be so ridiculous. But I mean, when you see how quickly you can just nuke, it's just... it's unbelievable. So I want to show you guys, right? Like, it would take quite a lot to get me enthusiastic about a Guild Wars 1 build. Like, I don't even really play this game anymore. But I've never really experienced a game like this. I have no idea how well it would do in endgame areas or whatever. But this is exactly the kind of thing I was interested in when I started looking back at the game. You know, I never questioned the old builds. I never questioned or needed to. I already had my Guam long before Mercenaries and all that kind of stuff became available. But, okay, so here we go. We've actually got a boss here, and this is a healing boss too. So we'll see how this one goes. Quite a variety of things here. So we'll just use our regular stuff, and now we'll just Wastrel's Worry. And all it takes is a couple of casts, 100 damage, 105 damage, 105 damage, 105 damage, and he's dead. Easily. While everyone else is off doing whatever the hell they want elsewhere. Bone minions are great for waste, not want not as well, for lots of energy. And, you know, if we got low, guys, if they actually got a nuke off on us, we'd proc a bunch of Paragon shouts that help pull us back up again. And there you go. This is hard mode. And they're melting just as fast as they ever did before. Again, if you're ever a little bit scared, you go with the even Vanguard Assassin support first. Hopefully they get a couple of little interrupts first. But, I mean, with long cast times like that meteor shout, they're never going to get the full cast. Maybe the Phoenixes. Here, look, 1,000,000 flesh golems all at once. Shall we just try and charge them? And I won't really talk about this in the main video, as I said. But try it out, guys. I guess there's not really too much more for me to say at this point. Spam and energy surges. Maybe I'll try, as I said, some other ideas. All you guys have to do is let me know. These hexes on us are no problem at all, by the way. Because, of course, all we have to do is just use Shatter Hex. In fact, all these hexes that they're putting on us, these lingering curses, are actually turning into... they're advantageous to us, really. And, yeah, we can just nuke the stuff down. If they create some minions, blow them up. I love using Spiritual Pain. Spiritual Pain's great, and it's on my bar specifically because Mind Rack's on my bar also. Like, I like the feeling of proccing it all at once. It's good damage. Even if you're not finding that they're casting minions, it just so happens in this video I've been to 2 different areas where they're casting minions. And so, yeah. Oh, this one could be kind of bad. Let's see how our guys do, because I didn't get the jump on the Hydras. Nah, easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. This is quite absurd. The place I've noticed it gets hardest is probably... I don't know, when you get to low man zones, obviously you can't really do too much of this because you don't get the 8 people unless you start from a big train from the Temple of the Aegis or something. But the last mission, Hell's Precipice, has a couple of imps in there as well. Unless you're very quick and careful with your targeting, it's probably not worth running this many Mesmers. Maybe just swap one from a Soul Twister for a Soul Twister, like a, you know, a shelter spamming Ritualist, and you'll be fine. So here we have 2 bosses at once. Melandru's Curse is actually doing pretty good. Oh, and now he's dead. And what does Malice Phasmis do? Oh, he's got Cryo Frustration. Like, if they're interrupting, they'll probably get the odd thing through. But not enough. Nowhere near enough. And yeah, I just wonder how I can min-max even better. This feels good as well because you can feel the weight of your own damage, right? Like, look at Toolbox. Look, we are out-damaging a lot of our hero friends just because of the way it's loaded through us and Mind Rack. That makes it quite a lot of fun. Okay, there you go, guys. That's the spotlight. Energy surge spamming, crazy nonsense. Have some fun with it. Let me know what you think. I may have another video up of me just clearing Thunderhead Keep, just so you guys can see what it's like. But there you go. That's our fun little spotlight. That's what I'll be running on the main channel in that Fire Island Chain series. And there's not too much more to say. Cheers all. That's the build. I'll see you next time. The speculation and hype for the idea of the Fire Island Chain was increasing because of current events. Current events I haven't talked about on the channel, but there was an NPC who started in Frostgorge Sound and slowly over the days has been moving in a southwesterly direction, seemingly headed straight for the Fire Island Chain. And right on the back of this came confirmation that was happening. So the place specifically that we're going to is called Ember Bay. And there was no such area named this in Guild Wars 1, perhaps in some really obscure dialogue somewhere, but